After months of allegations, lawsuits, and media chaos that destroyed Kim Soo Hyun's reputation bit by bit, new accusations and alleged evidence have emerged that are forcing netizens to do a double take. The allegations about his relationship with the late Kim Sae Ron have spiraled into a tangled web of many conflicting claims, and the truth is still as unclear as ever. At the end of September 2025, Soo Hyun's legal team made a move that attempted to shift the narrative surrounding the scandal, releasing around 150 handwritten letters that the actor had written to another girl, his actual girlfriend, during mandatory military service from 2017 to 2019, essentially claiming that due to this, he couldn't have been romantically involved with Sae Ron during the time she was underage. According to his attorney Ko Sang-rak of Phil Law Firm, Soo Hyun had written these letters whenever he had free time after enlisting in October 2017, exchanging vulnerable messages with his then girlfriend all the way through his discharge in spring 2019, and even personally delivering them during his military vacations. The contents of these released letters were deeply personal and affectionate, painting a picture of a man who was completely devoted to someone who wasn't Sae Ron, with diary entries and notes that showed him seriously planning a future with this mystery girlfriend and reflecting on how much he missed her. In one particularly vulnerable entry from July 30th, 2018, Soo Hyun allegedly wrote about wanting to go on a trip with her and experiencing everything new together, expressing his desire to cherish and love each other deeply, while acknowledging that relationships involve both fighting and making up. Another entry from August 3rd, 2018 showed him acknowledging that military life was hitting him with harsh reality, but making it clear that he was treating his girlfriend better than before he enlisted, writing that he was grateful every day she waited for him, and reflecting deeply on their relationship to show that he was thinking of her constantly. He would even write things like, "As always, I want to hear your voice, and when I hear it, I want to see you and hold you. It's the perfect level of madness. This is military life. I love you as always." Attorney Ko emphasized that these writings were incredibly credible as legal evidence because they were honest reflections of Soo Hyun's circumstances at the time, written naturally without any knowledge that they would one day need to be used to defend him against accusations, making manipulation essentially impossible. He further pointed out that if Soo Hyun had actually been in a relationship with Sae Ron since her middle school years as alleged, there would be photos and documents from that period proving it, but instead, all the current evidence, including these 150 letters, indicated that Soo Hyun had been dating someone completely different during the exact time frame when he was accused of being with an underage girl. Attorney Ko explained that this revelation made the controversial letter that Soo Hyun had sent to Sae Ron during his military service, which was exposed by Garo Sero Institute back in March, look completely different in context. He argued that unlike the vulnerable letters he was writing to this other girl, the message he sent to Sae Ron was more like a reflective essay about daily military life, personal resolutions, and post-discharge plans rather than anything romantic, falling into the same category as general letters he sent to various acquaintances to maintain a connection with the outside world. He claimed that the letter he sent to Sae Ron was not evidence of a romantic relationship, but rather casual correspondence between people who knew each other through mutual connections. Soo Hyun's attorney further repeated the claims that he and Sae Ron only began dating in the latter half of 2019 after she had become an adult, with all the photos that had sparked the controversy being taken between December 2019 and early 2020 when she was already in college. This completely contradicted the timeline that had been presented by Garo Sero Institute, claiming the relationship started in 2015 when she was only a middle schooler. Attorney Ko even went on the offensive by pointing out that the perpetrators had claimed to have thousands of photos proving an underage relationship, but hadn't been able to release a single photo in the past 6 months to back up their accusations. He stated confidently that they would never be able to reveal any such photos in the future because they simply don't exist. He also addressed another piece of supposed evidence that had fueled public outrage: the photos of Sae Ron at what people assumed was Soo Hyun's home, which Garo Sero Institute had presented as proof of alleged inappropriate late-night visits. He clarified that the house in question was actually where Soo Hyun's older cousin, who happened to be the CEO of his agency lived, and that Sae Ron and the cousin had naturally become mutual acquaintances through industry connections. According to attorney Ko, whenever Sae Ron visited that residence, the cousin was always present at home, completely demolishing the narrative that she was having secret moments with Soo Hyun in private settings. He wrapped up his defense by declaring that the essence of this entire case was evidence manipulation, arguing that Seo Institute and others had deliberately twisted innocent interactions and fabricated timelines to destroy an innocent man's career, and that correcting this crime was the essential first step toward both Soo Hyun's personal recovery and achieving social justice for everyone who had been caught up in this manufactured scandal. For some reason, Soo Hyun's legal team believed releasing these letters would immediately vindicate him and prove once and for all that he hadn't been romantically involved with an underage girl. However, the public's response was absolutely brutal and showed just how badly they had miscalculated what would actually help restore his image. Knets on forums like The Coup immediately tore apart the logic used by his lawyer in the letter dump, pointing out that the existence of letters to another girlfriend didn't actually prove anything except that Soo Hyun might have been two-timing both women, which somehow made the entire situation look even worse than before. They also pointed out that it was disturbing in general that a 30-year-old man was sending letters to a literal child. The comments were merciless, with people sarcastically noting that there's something called cheating in this world and questioning whether Soo Hyun and his legal team were really that foolish to think that revealing he had a girlfriend while simultaneously writing letters to Sae Ron would somehow make him look better. It's safe to say that netizens couldn't believe that his team was acting like they had somehow completely changed the narrative of the case when all they had really done was prove that Soo Hyun had been sending letters to Sae Ron saying he missed her while supposedly being devoted to someone else. Even controversial YouTuber Lee Jin Ho, who had previously sided with Soo Hyun through the scandal, had to acknowledge that the letters weren't exactly the type of freeing evidence the legal team seemed to think it was. Jin Ho explained that the letters were incredibly difficult to immediately accept as definitive proof that he never dated Sae Ron as a minor, elaborating that proving non-existence, which requires demonstrating that something didn't happen, is inherently one of the most challenging things to do in any legal or logical argument. Adding to the chaos, Jin Ho also provided an update on Soo Hyun's current whereabouts and mental state as of September 2025, revealing that he's apparently suffering from extreme stress due to what he claims are unjust allegations that have completely destroyed his career and reputation. According to Jin Ho's video, Soo Hyun has essentially gone into hiding and is reportedly climbing mountains in an attempt to calm his mind and escape the criticism he's been facing since the scandal first exploded earlier in the year. While Soo Hyun is allegedly somewhere trying to clear his head, his legal team is working overtime to fight back against the accusations, because on October 13th, they came out with more supposed evidence as to why Seo Institute is trying to set him up. Attorney Ko issued a statement asserting that the Kakao Talk messages from June 2016 that Seo Institute had disclosed as proof of Soo Hyun's inappropriate relationship with the underage Sae Ron were allegedly completely falsified, with someone supposedly manipulating the profile photo and name to make it appear as though Soo Hyun was the sender when he actually wasn't. These messages are one of the main pieces of evidence that were presented at the press conference that made this whole case blow up. CEO Kim Sae Ron and attorney Boo Sok allegedly stated the messages were affectionate, explaining that the purpose of the disclosure was to put an end to reckless speculation and criticism directed at the deceased and her family. Soo Hyun's legal team pointed out several reasons why the messages weren't authentic, particularly noting that throughout the entire conversation, the mail sender never once mentioned his schedule or whereabouts, which would be incredibly unusual for someone who was allegedly a busy actor trying to coordinate meetings with someone. His attorney further argued that Seo and Sae Ron's family had deliberately withheld parts of the conversation that would have revealed the man's actual movements and identity, because including those details would have immediately exposed that the person texting wasn't Soo Hyun. To strengthen their case, his legal team strategically used Seo Institute CEO Kim Sae Ron's own words against him, citing his previous broadcast statements where he had allegedly bragged about creating a group chat with the bereaved family who were sending them materials even even at 3 or 4 in the morning, and claiming they planned to release thousands of photos after the election. Attorney Ko urged authorities to immediately conduct a full investigation by seizing and examining not only the materials that had already been publicly revealed by Garocero, but also any additional unreleased messages, photos, and related data. More recently, a Korean news outlet, Money Today, decided to conduct their own independent investigation into the timeline of the alleged messages. Money Today allegedly obtained Soo Hyun's actual filming schedule from June 2016, claiming that he was intensively filming for the movie Real during the exact period when Sae Ron's family claimed that she had been exchanging inappropriate messages with him. The outlet said that Soo Hyun filmed for more than 18 days that month, meaning he was on set early in the morning and only left after completing his demanding schedule each day, making it virtually impossible for him to have been arranging secret dates with Sae Ron. Money Today didn't stop their alleged investigation at just the June 2016 schedule, because they also tried to debunk alleged messages sent in 2018 by referring to his personal military diary from April 2018, which, according to them, provided evidence that the messages from around that time were fabricated. The diary tracked his field training from April 2nd to April 5th, 2018, with entries that showed he was completely consumed by military operations during this period. On April 6th, Soo Hyun allegedly wrote he was looking forward to his leave, which Money Today noted is now being considered proof that he couldn't possibly have met up with Kim Sae Ron on Thursday, April 5th, as some of the alleged messages had suggested, because he was still on base waiting for his leave to be approved rather than already out enjoying free time. They further argued that on April 2nd, when Soo Hyun was allegedly messaging Sae Ron, he was reportedly still on base in his military unit and not on leave, making it impossible for him to be the person sending those messages. Regardless of whether Soo Hyun eventually proves his innocence, it's already clear his reputation may never recover. For now, it seems that netizens aren't buying this so-called evidence, but only time will tell what the truth is. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. However, the truth started unraveling the moment the accusations surfaced. So here's what really went on between Kim Sae Ron and Kim Soo Hyun. Kim Sae Ron's tragic passing left behind more questions than answers, but one of the most shocking controversies to hit the internet was her rumored relationship with Kim Soo Hyun. What started as whispers online quickly spiraled into full-blown accusations that became more controversial each day. So what's the truth behind their alleged connection? Sae Ron's life was filled with controversy until it came to a sudden and heartbreaking end on February 16th of this year. A friend found her lifeless at home, and by the time emergency responders arrived, it was already too late. Authorities confirmed there were no signs of criminal activity or forced entry, but given how much hate she endured over the years, many believe she took her own life. Unfortunately, even after her passing, discussions about her life haven't faded. While the world continues to mourn, Sae Ron's aunt brought attention to her loss by holding her alleged ex-partner, A-list actor Kim Soo Hyun, responsible. Long before her aunt was even in the picture, it had been rumored that Soo Hyun and Sae Ron were seeing each other. On March 2nd, 2024, speculation began circulating that the two were more than just acquaintances when Sae Ron posted an Instagram story featuring a close-up of their faces pressed together. The post didn't stay up for long, but netizens were quick to screenshot and spread it, causing a frenzy online. Many believed the timing was suspicious, accusing Sae Ron of trying to repair her tainted image by associating herself with one of the most popular actors at the time. After all, she was still dealing with the fallout from her DUI incident, underage drinking scandal, and gambling rumors, which had resulted in her being banned from KBS. Desperate to fix her broken reputation, some speculated that she was using Soo Hyun's star power to stir up attention. One netizen even wrote, "She needs to recover her image. This is 100% planned. She's trying to create some buzz around her, and she's even ready to ruin her boyfriend." Others pointed out that the photo seemed old, suggesting she had posted it purely for attention, especially considering it coincided with the release of the 6th episode of Queen of Tears, the highly popular drama Soo Hyun was starring in at the time. Those who believed the relationship was real had another theory. Sae Ron was jealous of Soo Hyun's undeniable on-screen chemistry with Kim Ji-won and posted the picture as an act of revenge. The situation escalated so quickly that Soo Hyun's team had no choice but to step in and address the rumors, turning an already messy situation into an even bigger scandal. The same day this odd picture surfaced, Soo Hyun's agency, Gold Medalist, quickly stepped in to shut down the rumors. In an official statement, they denied any romantic involvement between him and Sae Ron, calling the speculation completely unfounded. They also clarified that the photo was old, likely taken when the two were under the same agency, and expressed confusion over why Sae Ron had decided to post it. But while they seemed puzzled by her intentions, they made one thing very clear. They wouldn't hesitate to take legal action against defamatory remarks and malicious comments that could damage Soo Hyun's reputation. Shortly after, an alleged insider backed up the agency's claims, confirming that the two weren't dating and that the photo was from years ago. Still, online forums were filled with speculation, and the majority of commenters sided with Soo Hyun. Many were convinced that Sae Ron had posted the picture out of spite. Some even argued that Soo Hyun's agency should sue her for dragging his name into controversy, claiming that if not for her post, he wouldn't have been caught up in any of this. As the internet debated her motives, Sae Ron announced that she was preparing her own statement, but days passed and nothing was released. Then, without warning, she backtracked completely, saying she had decided to stay silent as she believed it was the best course of action. This only fueled more speculation. Did she realize the backlash was too strong and decided to back off? Or was there something behind the scenes stopping her from speaking out? Regardless of her true motives, a lot of people agreed that Sae Ron was a victim in this situation. With a history of scandals following her, anything she did was instantly seen in a negative light. If she was simply posting an innocent picture with a friend or rumored boyfriend, she was accused of trying to ruin his career. But no one questioned why Soo Hyun had been in close proximity to her in the first place. The real issue, according to many, wasn't just the controversy surrounding the picture, it was the disturbing age gap between them. To put it into perspective, Sae Ron was born in 2000, while Soo Hyun is 12 years older. A social media user even pointed out that the age difference between Soo Hyun and Sae Ron's mother was smaller than the one between him and Sae Ron herself. This sparked even more concern, with people questioning how the two had even formed a connection in the first place. While some argued that Sae Ron was an adult and had the right to date whoever she wanted, others found it strange that they had been close for years. The two had known each other since Sae Ron was a child. Their rumored relationship wasn't a new topic either. Dating speculation had followed them long before this scandal. Back in 2017, during an interview with Ilgan Sports, Sae Ron was asked which actor she wanted to work with the most, and her answer was Soo Hyun. Her response raised eyebrows when she playfully noted that he was a zodiac cycle apart from her, but that he lives rather youthfully anyway. Looking back, some now wonder if this was just admiration or if there was something deeper between them all along. The resurfaced photo of Sae Ron and Soo Hyun in 2024 didn't just spark a scandal, it opened Pandora's box. As netizens scrambled to piece together the timeline of their alleged relationship, past rumors and even old interviews were dragged back into the spotlight, making the situation look even worse. Controversial entertainment reporter Kim Soo Hyun had previously claimed that the two had been romantically involved years ago. According to speculation, Sae Ron's decision to join Gold Medalist, a startup agency at the time, was linked to her connection with Soo Hyun. Given that she had just left YG Entertainment, one of the biggest companies in the industry, the move seemed suspicious to many. Why would she go from a powerhouse agency to a newly established company with only 2 actors? Some theorized that she had joined because of Soo Hyun, further fueling suspicions that they had been more than just colleagues. The alleged entanglement between Sae Ron, Soo Hyun, and actress So Ye-ji only added to the unease. If the timeline speculated by netizens is true, Ye-ji had dated Soo Hyun after her public breakup with actor Kim Soo Hyun. The two reportedly got together while filming It's Okay to Not Be Okay, but after their relationship ended, things took a strange turn. Ye-ji allegedly moved on to Soo Hyun's cousin, who happened to be the CEO of Gold Medalist, while Soo Hyun supposedly began seeing Sae Ron. If this is true, it means that when the photo of the two was taken, Sae Ron was just 19 while Soo Hyun was 31. Not only would this mean that he was dating someone barely out of high school. But as one of the company's founders, the power imbalance in their dynamic was even more unsettling. But the most disturbing revelation came from an old interview that resurfaced in the middle of the controversy, making netizens question Soo Hyun's views on age gaps in relationships. In 2013, during a special showcase for the movie Be Covert, Be Great, he was asked about his future marriage plans. His response was unsettling, to say the least. Soo Hyun casually shared that he had already mapped out his ideal marriage timeline when he was 24. His plan was to marry at 41 to someone who would be 21 at the time. To make matters worse, the MC on stage jokingly remarked that Soo Hyun's future wife was probably just a toddler at the time, even laughing about how kindergartners must be nervous. What was once brushed off as a lighthearted joke now felt deeply uncomfortable in hindsight. The more people dug into his past statements and rumored relationships, the harder it became to ignore the disturbing patterns. The controversy surrounding his alleged connection with Sae Ron wasn't just about a single Instagram post anymore. It was about a much larger issue that had allegedly been hiding in plain sight. For netizens who followed the story of this alleged relationship for years, things finally fell into place on March 10th, 2025, when Sae Ron's aunt came forward with a shocking statement. Soo Hyun allegedly started dating Sae Ron at 15, and he was the reason she made the drastic decision to take her own life. According to an alleged interview for Garosero Research Institute, Sae Ron's aunt claimed that her niece and Soo Hyun began dating in 2015 when Sae Ron was only 15 years old and he was 27. Their relationship allegedly lasted for 6 years, until 2021. The aunt further supported the claims that Soo Hyun played a major role in shaping Sae Ron's career, influencing her decision to leave YG Entertainment and join Gold Medalist, the agency he co-founded. Sae Ron allegedly worked behind the scenes, helping establish the company by scouting and mentoring new talent, all while believing she was supporting her supposed boyfriend's career. But as their relationship came to an end, so did her position within the agency. Things took a turn for the worse in 2022 when Sae Ron's DUI scandal made headlines. According to her aunt, Soo Hyun and Gold Medalist initially offered to take care of the situation. They allegedly paid about $483,000 in damages and assured Sae Ron that she wouldn't need to pay it back. Grateful for the support, Sae Ron even confided in her aunt, calling Soo Hyun a good guy and promising to work hard to repay him anyway. But the real nightmare began in 2024. It said that out of nowhere, Sae Ron was served a notice demanding she pay back the full amount, something she never expected. Desperate and confused, she tried reaching out to Soo Hyun, only to be met with complete silence. He reportedly ignored her calls, even when she attempted to contact him using a family member's phone. Her aunt alleged that instead of responding, Soo Hyun gave reporters her cousin's phone number, leading to relentless media harassment. Feeling cornered and betrayed, Sae Ron made one last attempt to get his attention. She posted the now infamous photo of them together on Instagram. But instead of getting the reaction she hoped for, Gold Medalist released an official statement that painted her in a negative light, further isolating her. With no way to pay off her debt and no one left to turn to, Sae Ron's aunt believes this was her niece's final straw. The most chilling detail her aunt shared is that Sae Ron's passing on February 16th wasn't a coincidence. She allegedly made sure to take her own life on Soo Hyun's birthday. This YouTube interview with Sae Ron's aunt caused chaos to erupt all over the internet. It didn't take long for Gold Medalist to fire back with an official statement, firmly denying all accusations made in the Garosero Research Institute broadcast. The agency called the claims completely false and announced that they were preparing to take the strongest legal action possible against the YouTube channel for defamation. They directly refuted every major point raised by Garosero Research Institute, stating that Soo Hyun had never been in a relationship with Sae Ron when she was a minor, that he had no involvement in leaking her personal information, and that his agency's handling of her DUI scandal had been fair. But the statement didn't just defend Soo Hyun, it also called out Garosero Research Institute for what Gold Medalist described as a blatant attempt to exploit Sae Ron's passing. They expressed their condolences, emphasizing that they were deeply heartbroken over her passing, but condemned the YouTube channel for spreading baseless rumors that they claimed were nothing more than a repeat of the tormenting Sae Ron had endured while she was alive. The agency accused Garosero Research Institute of using Sae Ron's tragedy for personal gain and insisted that such reckless speculation was harming both Soo Hyun and Sae Ron's legacy. Garosero Research Institute was quick to to respond to gold medalist's statement, but instead of backing down, they escalated their claims even further. In a post on their channel, they mocked Soo Hyun and his agency for threatening legal action, dismissing their response as meaningless. They even compared the situation to BTS's past lawsuit threats against them, sarcastically claiming that those legal battles led nowhere and that Soo Hyun would suffer the same fate. But the most shocking part of their response came when they announced that someone was allegedly preparing to file an official report against Soo Hyun for having an inappropriate, explicit relationship with a minor. They further criticized him for not attending Saeron's funeral, pointing out that even Wonbin, who had only worked with her once in The Man from Nowhere, had shown up to pay his respects. At this point, the internet had split into two camps: those who fully believed Saeron's aunt and Garosero Research Institute, and those who found the entire situation deeply questionable. The allegations were undeniably disturbing, but Garosero Research Institute itself is an extremely controversial source. The channel, run by former MBC journalist Kim Soo Hyun, has a long history of inserting itself into celebrity scandals, often with sensationalized and unverified claims. While its supporters argued that mainstream Korean news outlets were too afraid to touch the story, others pointed out that Garosero had been caught spreading misinformation before, making it difficult to determine what was true. Another factor that made people question the credibility of Garosero Research Institute is its clear political bias. The channel is widely known for its far-right affiliations and strong support for former President Yoon Suk-yeol, which has led to accusations that it pushes certain narratives to align with its ideological stance rather than prioritizing factual reporting. Critics have warned that Garosero has a history of manipulating information and spreading conspiracy theories, making it one of the most controversial platforms in South Korea's media landscape. Some online users even pleaded with others not to elevate the channel, arguing that regardless of how shocking the allegations were, Garosero was not a reliable source. In the end, the truth behind Sae Ron and Soo Hyun's alleged relationship remains full of controversy, speculation, and potential lies. Maybe the real tragedy isn't just the scandals or the unanswered questions, it's that even in her passing, the world refuses to let her rest. And as the story unfolded, it became clear that much of what Kim Soo Hyun said didn't add up. Although gold medalists promised to take a week before addressing the accusations against Kim Soo Hyun, they released a lengthy statement much sooner. However, after netizens thoroughly examined it, they uncovered more lies than truths, raising questions about the agency's motives. The statement, released by the agency on the morning of March 14th, first addressed the relationship between Soo Hyun and Saeron, confirming they had dated but disputing claims that it began after Saeron became a legal adult. According to the agency, they were together from summer 2019 to fall 2020. They also claimed that the initial photo Saeron posted on Instagram to get Soo Hyun's attention, along with those shown on Garosero Institute's live broadcast on March 11th, were actually taken when Saeron was a legal adult. To counter accusations, they pointed out that Saeron was wearing a shirt released in June 2019, arguing this proved Garosero was misleading the public. They also mentioned the second picture that was released on March 12th, claiming it was taken on Christmas Eve 2019, and that they had metadata to verify this, though they never released it. As for the pictures revealed on March 13th, they insisted those were also from Christmas Eve. They went on to say the repeated claim by Hoverlab that there are photos taken in 2016 is unfounded, as the two were not in a relationship at that time. This is where contradictions started appearing. Gold medalist claimed the relationship ended in fall 2020, yet they also insisted one of the photos was from winter 2020, which didn't add up. Meanwhile, netizens began investigating the Nike shirt Saeron wore in the picture. The agency claimed it was released in 2019, but people pointed out that it was actually a re-release. The original design allegedly came out in 2015. However, the only available screenshot supporting this claim came from an AI-generated response, making it unreliable. Instead of focusing on the shirt, another key piece of evidence came from Saeron herself. According to Garosero Institute, they spoke to her cousin, whose phone Saeron had borrowed to contact Soo Hyun after he blocked her. Screenshots shared by Garosero showed the cousin frustrated over reporters constantly calling and asking if Saeron planned to release a statement. She reportedly said she had no intention of speaking publicly, but privately wrote a statement she never released. In the statement, she allegedly says, "The photo uploaded on my Instagram stories was taken in 2016, and we were dating from November 19th, 2015 to July 7th, 2021, which is enough for some people to not believe gold medalist." Additionally, Chinese netizens had actually uncovered this detail a year ago, identifying Saeron's photo as one from 2016. They revisited selfies Soo Hyun had taken that same year while promoting the phone brand ZUK. His hairstyle, outfit, and overall appearance in those older pictures matched exactly with the one Saeron shared in March of last year. On top of that, many pointed out that the image quality didn't seem up to 2019 standards, further suggesting it was taken much earlier. Now let's go over the two pictures where Soo Hyun is wearing glasses, one where he's standing next to Saeron and another where he's kissing her cheek. The first thing that caught the attention of Chinese netizens was his glasses. Fans recognized them as a gift from a Chinese fan back in 2013, featuring a distinct leopard print design inside the frame. Since Soo Hyun is turned sideways in the photo, the pattern is visible. While it's possible he kept wearing them years later, longtime fans claim he hadn't been seen with those glasses in a while. On top of that, people pointed out that the filters used in the pictures were from the B612 app, which was especially popular among Korean teenagers between 2015 and 2016. The grainy effect on the second image only added to the suspicion that these weren't recent photos. Now, let's talk about Saeron's hairstyle. When people compared the timeline gold medalist provided to her past photos, they realized something was off. She didn't have bangs at the time they claimed the picture was taken, and her hair was a different length. A netizen even went through old fan pages and found a picture from March 2017 where she had the same wispy bangs as in the image shared by Garosero Institute. According to them, around that time, she was consistently seen with that hairstyle both at events and in her personal life. The outfits worn by both Saeron and Soo Hyun also matched the colder weather expected in March. On top of that, the selfie taken in March 2017 showed her with the exact same hair and lip color as in the alleged photo with Soo Hyun, making it even harder to believe the agency's claims. The agency also responded to the letters Soo Hyun sent while he was enlisted by explaining that they were just part of his adjustment to military life. According to gold medalist, Soo Hyun sent similar letters to his close friends, often sharing details about his day-to-day experiences. They said it's common for soldiers to express longing for those they miss. The agency also accused Garosero of distorting the timeline, falsely claiming the two had been dating since 2015. They argued that postcards sent during their relationship were misleadingly paired with his military letters, making them look like love letters. Additionally, gold medalist clarified that the nickname Saeron had been using publicly on social media since 2016 was wrongly presented as something only used between the two. Netizens quickly pointed out that this claim was incorrect as well. The letter Garosero Institute released was actually from June 2018, which is a year before gold medalist stated they began dating. In the letter, he talks about his daily life, just as the agency had described, but Soo Hyun also wrote, "It's hard to see your face, so I wonder what you're feeling, what my will is, but I don't want to put any pressure on you. The most I can say is I miss you." He also shared that he often finds himself caught up in conversations with younger people, sometimes even thinking about returning to school. He joked, wondering if that meant they could go to school together, which made netizens uncomfortable. Even if the agency insisted the letters were purely platonic, it still felt strange to the public that he would tell a high schooler he missed her and make jokes about attending school together. Many netizens argued that regardless of the nature of their relationship, it was inappropriate for an adult to send such personal letters to a minor. Moreover, in Korean culture, this kind of letter with such an intimate tone wouldn't typically be part of a casual friendship between a man and a woman. As the netizen put it, why is a 30-year-old man close acquaintances with a 17-year-old to be using nicknames and the kind of intimate tone? Like, none of this is helping his case whatsoever here. The agency later explained their past denial of the relationship, claiming they were simply protecting the couple's privacy. They accused Garosero Institute of invading the late actress's private life and defaming her character. However, many people were skeptical of this reasoning, arguing that the agency was actually lying to shield Soo Hyun from accusations of pursuing and dating a minor. Back in March of the previous year, gold medalist had denied any romantic involvement between Soo Hyun and Saeron. They claimed that the picture in question was taken when they were both under the same agency, but couldn't explain why Saeron posted and then deleted it, implying she had an agenda to damage Soo Hyun's reputation. Then, when Saeron's family confirmed the relationship, gold medalist denied the allegations again. Now, they're shifting their story, admitting the relationship, but claiming they only kept it private for the couple's sake, even though it was Saeron who shared the photos. As a commenter said, why didn't he say anything about their adult relationship while she was being attacked when she first posted the photo on her stories? Why not admit it was a past relationship if there was nothing to fear? As you can see, Soo Hyun's statement statement only seemed to make matters worse. The timelines didn't add up, and there was no solid proof to back up the claims about the photos being from 2019 or 2020. Even if he did date Saeron after she became an adult, the whole situation still felt unsettling. Dating someone he would have known since she was a child and sending questionable letters raises serious concerns. On top of that, the agency's apparent focus on protecting Saeron's privacy and her memory felt hollow, especially considering they didn't step up for her when she needed support the most. To make things worse, netizens pointed out that on the day Saeron passed, Soo Hyun was posting birthday gifts, and on the day of her funeral, he was attending a party instead of paying his respects. With Garosero Institute promising to release more evidence, including pictures and videos, and many are waiting to see if the agency's claims will fall apart. Now, fans are left wondering how gold medalist will explain the situation, especially if the truth points to Soo Hyun manipulating someone who was 12 years his junior and his subordinate, pressuring her for money that he really didn't need considering he was making more than that for a single episode, and neglecting her when things got tough, only to avoid any showing her respect after her passing. It looks like the only way Soo Hyun can get out of this situation is by showing solid proof of his claims. However, even with that, the fact remains that he was 31 and dating a 19-year-old, which doesn't make him look any better. Then, shocking evidence surfaced, including private letters and photos that Dispatch revealed, exposing what really happened behind closed doors. The controversy surrounding actor Kim Soo Hyun and his alleged inappropriate relationship with the late Kim Sae Ron has rocked the K-drama world, prompting both media outlets and Saeron's family to reveal more details. After her aunt's interview went viral, additional stories started emerging, including a text message Saeron supposedly sent to Soo Hyun. In the message, dated March 19, 2024, Saeron allegedly pleaded for more time to repay a debt after being hit with a lawsuit from the company. She explained that she was doing her best to pay him back, offering a percentage of her earnings from each job. Although she reassured him that repaying him was a priority, the amount demanded by the company was too much for her to handle at the time. She wrote, "It's not that I won't, but I can't. Do you really have to take it as far as a lawsuit? Please save me. I beg of you. Give me some time." The message was absolutely heartbreaking, leading to strong reactions from netizens. One commenter wrote, "He exploited her since she was 15, then ditched and threw her under the bus the moment she hit rock bottom, then decided to torment her just to still assert power over her. He's so evil." Then Dispatch got involved as well with a scathing expose on Soo Hyun. According to the article released on March 12th, everything that had been reported about Soo Hyun and Saeron had been true. They started the article by confirming that gold medalist had indeed asked for the debt to be repaid by sending a notice to Saeron on March 2024. The notice demanded that she pay compensation for the damage she caused, as according to them, she still had $473,000 left to pay back, with the deadline being December 31st, 2023. Gold medalist demanded full repayment and even threatened legal action when she couldn't pay up, but according to Dispatch, Saeron simply didn't have the money. She had been supporting her family since she was young, and after her DUI, she was stuck trying to provide for them while also dealing with the agency's financial demands. At one point, she was their biggest star, but when her contract ended, she assumed the debt had been quietly settled. However, this belief was shattered when she was delivered the official notice, leaving her with no choice but to try and get in contact with Soo Hyun. This is when she sent the text that was shared by the media in which she pleaded with him to save her and give her some time. The article continued with the media outlet confirming that the two were indeed in a relationship at some point, which is why Saeron joined gold medalist in the first place. Back then, the decision didn't make much sense since she had left a powerhouse agency like YG Entertainment to join Soo Hyun's one-person agency. Despite this, Soo Hyun didn't respond to her message, so Saeron had no choice but to post the picture of them together to try and get his attention. Dispatch also reported that when the photo was first posted, they had reached out to Saeron to ask her if she was going to release a statement. To this, she responded, "No, I never said I was going to release a statement. It seems that they were misinformed about the necessity of releasing a statement." Saeron specifically asked them not to include the conversation in their article, wanting to keep the situation from escalating. Dispatch noted that she avoided making a public statement for that reason, believing that that the issue with gold medalist had been quietly resolved. The agency even claimed they wouldn't demand repayment due to her circumstances, but that turned out to be a lie. In the article, Dispatch highlighted the agency's contradictions. A single photo wouldn't have changed Saeron's reality, but it was enough to shift things for Soo Hyun. While Dispatch couldn't confirm exactly what was said between Saeron and gold medalist, one thing was clear. She wanted to keep things quiet, while the agency was quick to control the narrative with a one-sided statement. In gold medalist's words, the two had never been romantically linked and claimed that the picture was taken when they were both under the same agency. They also said that they had no idea what Saeron was trying to do by posting the picture online. After Saeron's passing, Dispatch once again reached out to gold medalist to clarify whether her debt had ever been settled. The agency responded by saying that the production company behind Bloodhounds, the drama she was removed from following her DUI, demanded $482,000 in damages. Gold medalist claimed they had covered the cost up front on her behalf. When asked why they had sent the certified notice, gold medalist insisted it was just a standard procedure to prevent any legal issues and claimed they never actually intended to collect money from Saeron. However, when Dispatch pressed them on whether Saeron knew it was just a formality, the agency dodged the question, only mentioning that her manager had been in touch with her to handle the paperwork. This led Dispatch to question why, if it was all just routine, Saeron had been so visibly distressed upon receiving it. To this, they replied, "She was told the company paid out the compensation. We knew we couldn't get such a large amount from her. We told her she could pay it back when she brings in a profit for the company or when she can afford it." Furthermore, gold medalist stated that Saeron had given them around $24,100, which came from selling the car she was driving on the night of the accident since it was never repaired. They also claimed that after that, she didn't make any further payments. Dispatch reported that Saeron did everything she could to repay the money. She sold her car and even got rid of any convertible bonds she owned, managing to gather around $138,000. Despite knowing she couldn't cover the full amount, gold medalist still sent her a notice demanding repayment. It was also revealed that Saeron had invested in Golden S, a co-stock-listed company acquired by gold medalist and Siwon School. She participated in the acquisition as a convertible bond investor. Notably, gold medalist is entirely owned by Soo Hyun and his cousin, director Lee Sarang. When they took over Golden S, Dispatch reported that their investment saw a 400% return, so the fact that they were asking for money after all this was baffling. Dispatch stood by their claims about the relationship, stating they had verified it through multiple sources. An alleged close acquaintance of Soo Hyun reportedly said that the actor would never acknowledge it publicly due to Saeron's age. In their closing remarks, Dispatch didn't point to a single cause for Saeron's passing, but suggested it was a mix of different factors: media coverage, online speculation, and personal struggles. However, their sharpest criticism was aimed at gold medalist, questioning whether the agency truly had Saeron's best interests at heart, considering how they had handled the whole thing. After Dispatch confirmed the reports, more evidence came to light, with Garosero Institute sharing additional photos and statements supporting the accusations against Soo Hyun. One of the photos included a handwritten letter from Soo Hyun to Sae Ron during his time in the military, where he signed it off as Private Soldier Kim far away. The letters also showed that he frequently referred to her as Saeron Nero. Another piece of evidence was a postcard that Soo Hyun reportedly sent to Saeron while he was in Paris. In it, he wrote, "Saeron Nero, I had a drink in Paris. I love you, Saeron Nero. You make me so proud, Saeron Nero. You're so amazing." After the postcard surfaced online, fans quickly realized that the nickname Soo Hyun used to hide their identities had already been mentioned by both of them before. In 2016, when she was just 16 years old, Saeron posted a photo on Twitter with the caption Saeron Nero. Soo Hyun, on the other hand, has a habit of signing off his messages in a similar style. He frequently uses variations like Kim Place or Kim Thing when talking to fans on Bubble. This was also evident in the letters and postcards he reportedly sent Saeron, where he referred to himself as Private Soldier Kim or Kim Paris. Other pictures showed Soo Hyun kissing her on the cheek, one where they're leaning in for a kiss, and several from his time in the military, which he had allegedly sent to her, including shots of him in uniform and receiving IV treatment. Additionally, in a second interview with Garosero Institute, her aunt revealed that it was Soo Hyun who pursued Saeron, even though she was only 15 and he was 27, not to mention that he was technically her superior. According to her, Saeron initially tried to reject Soo Hyun's advances, questioning his intentions due to their significant age gap. She went on to explain that Sae Ron didn't immediately tell her mother about their relationship. The family only found out after Soo Hyun continued sending her personal photos, prompting them to intervene. Saeron had initially told him not to mess around with someone so much younger, but he reassured her by saying he was serious and genuinely cared for her. Despite the age gap, she eventually believed him. He even promised to look after her once he started his own company, claiming he would take responsibility for her. This is why when her contract with YG Entertainment ended, she didn't look for a new agency, but decided to join his, as they were already in a relationship. Additionally, the aunt mentioned that Soo Hyun had brought up the idea of marriage to Sae Ron when she was in her early 20s, making the situation even more disturbing. With all of these things coming out one after the other, all gold medalist had to say was that they would release a full statement next week, which baffled netizens. To them, the situation was way too serious for the company to take a full week to address everything. The comments from netizens read, "So you're going to start fabricating proofs in the meantime?" And they'll probably say, "He indeed dated Kim Sae Ron, but she made the bigger mistake." Meanwhile, Soo Hyun's career is crumbling down. Soo Hyun is currently the face of around 15 brands such as Shinhan Bank, Prada, Homeplus, and Dinto. However, following the recent accusations against him, many companies are distancing themselves from him. Brands like Eider and K2 have removed all content featuring Soo Hyun from their websites and social media. Furthermore, Dinto confirmed that they've put all activities involving Soo Hyun on hold, while Tous les Jours stated they have no plans to renew his contract. As a result, it's estimated that Soo Hyun could face up to $13.8 million in contract penalties. He has also lost nearly 500,000 followers on Instagram, and most of his fans have closed their fan pages. His career is slowly coming to an end. But the story gets even murkier as claims of fabricated calls suggest Kim Soo Hyun and Lee Jin Ho may have twisted Sae Ron's side of events. After facing backlash for his alleged role in Kim Sae Ron's suffering, YouTuber Lee Jin Ho resurfaced with yet another shocking claim, this time insisting that she had been married and even pregnant before her passing. But given his track record, can anything he says be trusted? And more importantly, who truly benefits from these claims? To give you some background, on January 6th, just a month before her passing, Sae Ron posted a series of pictures on Instagram with a man in New York. They were both dressed in black, posing together with Sae Ron glancing lovingly at him in some shots. The post quickly caught attention, but what really sparked curiosity was the caption, "Marry." While the photos were soon deleted, the damage was done, and people started speculating about the nature of their relationship. Given Sae Ron's controversial history, especially after her DUI incident, the post set off a flurry of rumors. In an interview with Honk Young 2 days later, Sae Ron addressed the rumors, clarifying that the man was just a friend and that the marriage claims were false. When asked why she deleted the post, she expressed it was hard to explain, hoping for public understanding. However, her response didn't calm the situation, and many accused her of seeking attention, saying that she would do anything to keep herself in the public eye. Netizens wrote comments like, "Legendary attention seeker," and "With Kim Soo Hyun too, she's the type to make her own dating rumors." Some people felt the public was being too harsh on her over something so small. She hadn't named anyone, the guy's face was blurred, and it was her personal Instagram, where she should be free to post whatever she wanted. Why were people accusing her of seeking attention just for sharing pictures on her own account? A month after Sae Ron's Instagram post, the situation took a devastating turn. On February 16th, she was found lifeless, and the public's attention quickly shifted. Her family made shocking accusations, claiming that actor Kim Soo Hyun had pursued a relationship with Sae Ron while she was still a minor, and he was nearly 30. They believed that this relationship played a major role in her tragic decision, which occurred on Soo Hyun's birthday. The accusations sent shockwaves through the K-drama world, making it the primary topic of conversation. After Sae Ron's passing, her family didn't just blame Soo Hyun. They also called out YouTuber Lee Jin Ho, who had posted a number of hurtful videos about her. In fact, this was the first major statement from her family after her passing. During her funeral, Sae Ron's father publicly addressed Lee Jin Ho, accusing him of causing Sae Ron significant emotional harm. He pointed to several expose videos where Lee Jin Ho harshly criticized Sae Ron, especially after she posted wedding-themed photos in January. One of his videos was titled "Kim Sae Ron's Self-Deletion Again. Gone into hiding after marriage rumors, tried contacting her directly." In the video, Lee Jin Ho claimed to have tried reaching out to Saeron but couldn't, questioning her sincerity about self-reflection. After her tragic passing, he took down or set to private all of his videos related to her. Sae Ron's family, especially her father, repeatedly criticized Lee Jin Ho, Ho for the harm his videos and words caused to their daughter. As a result, Lee Jin Ho publicly apologized to the family, stating, "I wanted to apologize, even if it was just for morals. I wanted to bow my head to the bereaved family. If they were mad at me, I wanted to listen, and since I couldn't visit, I wanted to show my condolences." He also made it clear that he would pursue legal action against the Garocero Research Institute, stating it might take time, but promising full transparency of the findings. However, this apology didn't ease the family's pain. They decided to move forward with a defamation lawsuit against him, even accusing him of collaborating with Soo Hyun to harm their daughter's reputation. Instead of stepping back and actually reflecting sincerely, something he accused Saeron of faking, Lee Jin Ho released another video on March 19th, where he claimed that Saeron had indeed been married when she posted those pictures 2 months prior. In the video, he shared what he said were voice recordings between Saeron and a former agency staff member. The recordings allegedly capture a conversation about the photos, where the staff member questioned how they ended up online. In response, Saeron reportedly clarified that it wasn't her doing, but rather her boyfriend who had uploaded them. The staff member then called him crazy, with Saeron agreeing. The conversation continued with the staff mentioning that reporters had been relentlessly contacting her representatives about the photos. They added that they had denied the marriage rumors, but urged Saeron to be honest with them, adding, "He's going to upload it again, won't he?" The conversation continues with the alleged staff member asking Saeron when she will be back and then asking for her location, with her answering that she was in New York where her boyfriend allegedly lived. In the conversation, the staff member also reportedly questions Saeron about her relationship status, specifically regarding rumors of marriage. The staff allegedly mentioned that reporters had been asking whether the man in her photos was her boyfriend or if they were married. When asked if they had already had a ceremony, Saeron reportedly confirmed it, stating it was held overseas, not in Korea. The conversation continues with Saeron allegedly opening up about her relationship and a series of personal struggles. She reportedly admitted to meeting her ex-boyfriend while in Korea, rumored to be Soo Hyun, claiming they were no longer together, but he had offered to help with issues related to her company. Saeron apparently shared that she had no intention of marrying her current boyfriend and was planning to break up with him. But things took a turn when she reportedly became pregnant and had to terminate her pregnancy. Despite this, Saeron claimed her boyfriend pressured her into marriage, stating he subtly threatened her about the situation. She also mentioned that her boyfriend, who she described as a normal person working in New York, had access to her social media accounts and would monitor her messages. She reportedly said that they fought over the public announcement of their marriage and that he posted about it despite her objections. Saeron further revealed that she had deleted her Kakao Talk and adjusted her social media as her boyfriend's behavior reportedly became more erratic when he drank. When asked about her parents' knowledge of the situation, Saeron confirmed they were aware, but emphasized that her boyfriend appeared normal except when he drank. The video appeared to challenge Garocero's claims that Saeron had informed her family about Soo Hyun instructing her to switch phones, remove Kakao Talk, and use Telegram. Instead, it suggested that these actions were actually linked to her alleged husband. Jin Ho said, "The bereaved family has been raising major issues about her ex-boyfriend Kim Soo Hyun from 4 years ago, but in reality, Kim Sae Ron was married to another man and living her newlywed life." He even implied that Saeron must not have been all that shaken by his videos, claiming that when he uploaded his videos, Saeron was in the US with her alleged husband. Lee Jin Ho likely intended for his video to clear his name and reveal a shocking side of Saeron's life, possibly to discredit her family's accusations about his and Soo Hyun's involvement in her tragic decision. However, the video backfired. Instead of proving his point, netizens criticized him for trying to sensationalize Saeron's personal life, which she had kept private for a reason. They pointed out that even if the marriage claim was true, it didn't change the troubling nature of Soo Hyun's relationship with Saeron. Some even speculated that Jin Ho might be working for Soo Hyun's agency, Gold Medalist, using this video as an attempt to shift focus away from the serious allegations. When Saeron spoke about her ex-boyfriend aiding her with company issues, it was widely interpreted as an indirect reference to Soo Hyun apparently offering her support in resolving her financial struggles with Gold Medalist. However, this completely went against everything her family had claimed, which seemed like a poor attempt to try and salvage Soo Hyun's reputation. On top of everything, the claim about Saeron allegedly terminating her pregnancy caught a lot of attention, with many suspecting Jin Ho had brought it up for a specific reason. People speculated that he was trying to appeal to misogynists in Korea, who would likely condemn Sae Ron for the decision, shifting focus away from Soo Hyun's actions. On top of everything else, Lee Jin Ho's actions were also seen as hypocritical. After apologizing to Sae Ron's family and expressing regret, he continued to release videos about her, seemingly using her private matters to avoid responsibility for the situation. A comment about the situation read, "Even in passing, trying to smear her name with personal information irrelevant to Kim Soo Hyun instead of addressing the hurt Saeron suffered at his hands for years." Another netizen said, "Look at him trying to blur the plot. Who cares if she got married after?" But those who believed Jin Ho's claims were quickly confronted with evidence suggesting the recordings were fabricated. Jin Ho may have hoped to steer attention towards Saeron's supposed marriage and away from the events leading up to her passing, but his video only added fuel to the fire. Instead of convincing the public, it sparked even more skepticism, with many questioning the authenticity of the voice recordings. After analyzing the clips, Chinese netizens reportedly found evidence suggesting the conversation had been either artificially generated or significantly altered, further damaging Jin Ho's credibility. While the voice resembled Sae Ron's, many noted it sounded unnatural, leading to growing doubts. This revelation sparked another wave of backlash against both Jin Ho and Soo Hyun, as the public became increasingly convinced that they were working together to tarnish Sae Ron's name even after her passing, while attempting to clear Soo Hyun's reputation. A Twitter user expressed their outrage by posting, "Until which extent will Kim Soo Hyun get to destroy this girl with his money and power?" There's no definitive proof yet that the recordings were AI generated or manipulated, but given Lee Jin Ho's reputation, many found it hard to take his claims at face value. Even if the recordings were somehow real, the fact that he chose to shift the focus onto Saeron's personal life, rather than acknowledging the role he played in her suffering, made the entire situation even more disturbing. It was a clear attempt to discredit someone who could no longer defend herself, using details of her private life to divert attention from the immense harm he and others had caused. The sheer audacity of continuing to drag her name through the mud even after her passing left many disgusted, as it showed just how far they were willing to go to protect themselves at her expense. Let's hope she gets the justice she deserves. And as more details came to light, the darker truths emerged, showing how the media may have shielded him from scrutiny. After Kim Sae Ron's family accused Kim Soo Hyun of having a relationship with their minor daughter and completely ruining her life, something strange started happening. News outlets suddenly painted him in a favorable light, social media flooded with copy-paste defenses, and forums were overrun with suspicious support. Now, many are wondering, just how far is Soo Hyun willing to go to rewrite the narrative? To catch you up to speed, despite previously apologizing to Sae Ron's family for his past videos, YouTuber Lee Jin Ho reignited controversy by recently releasing yet another video about her. On March 19th, he uploaded a video titled "The Truth Hidden by Late Kim Sae Ron's Family," in which he alleged that she had been married and pregnant before her passing. He claimed to have obtained voice recordings of a conversation between Sae Ron and a staff member, supposedly discussing an Instagram post where she had shared photos with an unidentified man alongside the caption "Mary." In the alleged recording, Sae Ron reportedly revealed that she had gotten pregnant while dating her boyfriend, but later chose to terminate the pregnancy, which ultimately resulted in their marriage. Her boyfriend was described as someone working at a major company in New York, whom she had met through mutual connections. It was also claimed that he controlled her social media, including Instagram, and had uploaded the Mary post on her behalf before taking it down, something she hadn't fully agreed to. Lee Jin Ho also alleged that after Sae Ron was hospitalized due to an attempt on her life, the medical expenses reportedly totaled over $15,000. He claimed that her agency, not her family, had covered the costs and called on her relatives to address the situation publicly. Rather than reacting with shock, netizens turned their anger toward Jin Ho, accusing him of invading Sae Ron's privacy to shift the conversation away from the accusations against Soo Hyun. Many believed he was deliberately trying to make her family look dishonest, while portraying her agency, likely gold medalist, as the ones who had supposedly stepped in to support her when her parents couldn't. However, there was something even more alarming. What makes this whole situation even stranger is how Korean media handled it. Despite the serious accusations from Kim Sae Ron's family and Garosero Institute, there was barely any coverage on the matter, almost as if the press had decided to look the other way. While his statements and responses were widely covered, the allegations against him barely made headlines. But the moment Jin Ho introduced claims that Sae Ron had supposedly been blackmailed into marriage, lived in New York, and had a pregnancy she later terminated, everything changed. Suddenly, Korean media outlets were eager to report on these claims, flooding the internet with articles. Titles like "The Late Kim Sae Ron's Reality," her Instagram post suddenly gaining attention, and "The Late Kim Sae Ron's Life in New York After Marriage, the telegram was because of her husband" began appearing. The focus had completely shifted. Instead of questioning Soo Hyun's alleged relationship with her as a minor, the media latched onto Jin Ho's version of events, making it seem as though those details mattered more. By emphasizing her alleged relationships and pregnancy, the media crafted a narrative that painted her in a negative light, one that conveniently benefited Soo Hyun the most. Additionally, Lee Jin Ho's so-called evidence is now under scrutiny, with growing suspicions that the recordings he presented may have been altered or even artificially generated. Chinese netizens analyzed the audio as soon as the video surfaced and pointed out that something felt off, leading many to believe that the recordings were manipulated. While there's no official confirmation yet, the fact that Korean media was so quick to latch on to Jin Ho's claims while largely ignoring the accusations from Garosero was startling. But this isn't the first time they've taken his words at face value while overlooking key details. As this entire situation unfolds, netizens have revisited how Korean media handled Saeron's DUI incident, uncovering an overwhelming number of clickbait articles, approximately 5,082, many of which came from the same handful of outlets. OSIN led with 302 articles, followed by Exports News, Sports Chosun, Star News, Newson, and others. These publications continuously rehashed the same talking points, amplifying the scandal rather than reporting new information. More concerning is that much of their coverage was built around Jin Ho's videos, the same ones Saeron's family said had deeply affected her. Instead of straightforward reporting, these articles cast doubt on every aspect of Saeron's situation. They questioned if she truly felt remorse, whether she was as financially strained as she claimed, if she was really working at a cafe, and even speculated about whether she had stopped drinking. Now, history is repeating itself, with the media once again using unverified claims to paint her in a certain light, just as they did before. It's easy to argue that the media did all this for profit. Saeron's DUI scandal was a huge deal, and in Korea, where drunk driving is taken very seriously, the fallout from her scandal brought in a lot of clicks. More clicks meant more money, and the media didn't hesitate to exploit this. Integrity wasn't a concern in this situation either, which is why no one seemed to mind the constant attention on rumors and unfounded claims, completely ignoring the mental toll it might have had on Saeron. But when it came to Soo Hyun, arguably one of the highest paid actors in the K-drama industry, accused of pursuing a minor and dating her since she was 15, asking her for money that he didn't need, and then ghosting her, leading to her tragic passing on his birthday, the media went silent. Instead of focusing on Garosero's shocking claims, which would likely generate a lot of attention, media outlets have simply repeated and highlighted gold medalists' statements. They've placed these at the forefront of their coverage, emphasizing the positive public response Soo Hyun has received and concerns about his mental health. For instance, when the controversy gained traction, an OSIN journalist pointed out the media frenzy surrounding Soo Hyun, noting that public scrutiny in the entertainment industry wasn't a new issue. The article tried to draw parallels between Soo Hyun's treatment and that of other celebrities like Saeron and the late Lee Sung-yeon, who also endured intense public pressure. However, this comparison was highly ironic, especially since OSIN itself has been exposed for contributing to the very same kind of public scrutiny against Saeron. The article then went on to say that Garosero wasn't a reliable source and accused them of exploiting negative scandals for profit, drawing an analogy to tow trucks rushing to accident scenes for business. Yet this seemed hypocritical, given that the same outlets had published hundreds of articles based on Lee Jin Ho's claims, who's also known for making up and exploiting scandals for attention. As mentioned, the article also brought up actor Lee Sung-yeon, mentioning how he tragically took his own life the previous year after enduring constant online harassment from similar media outlets. According to them, this kind of sensationalist reporting, disguised as the public's right to know, often stirs up malicious comments and intensifies controversies, creating a never-ending cycle of media exploitation. Interestingly, this mirrors the accusations Saeron's family made against Jin Ho, but media outlets like OSIN had no hesitation in reporting every one of his claims. The article also expressed regret over Soo Hyun losing endorsement deals and upcoming projects, further highlighting the concerns about his safety and well-being, as if that should be the focus of this. Another similar article came out recently, focusing on the positive comments that Soo Hyun was receiving. On the evening of March 19th, 15th, Money Today reported that, despite the backlash, Soo Hyun was receiving a wave of praise on social media. One viral post suggested that Garosero Institute's videos had unintentionally portrayed Soo Hyun as a caring and considerate partner. It highlighted how he gently patted Saeron's back when she had hiccups and even washed the dishes for her. Fans quickly embraced the sentiment, calling him Gentle Kim and expressing how his kindness was endearing. Another post compared Soo Hyun to a romantic drama lead, pointing out how he treated Saeron with such tenderness, like a hero straight out of a drama. In the end, the article highlights how Soo Hyun's fan cafe, Eucharis, remained supportive of him despite all the accusations and public backlash. To say that netizens were outraged would be quite the understatement. Comments on online forums said, "How can the Korean press media play about him like this? They can't be sane. And the headline is disgusting. How much money did they receive?" Saeron's family seems convinced that there's something suspicious going on between Soo Hyun and the media. That's likely why they chose to bring their claims to Garosero Institute despite its reputation. During their press conference, they shared that they had reached out to nearly 100 media outlets, detailing how Soo Hyun had allegedly been in a relationship with Saeron when she was underage and suggesting he played a role in what happened to her, yet not a single one picked up the story. They went on to say, all the entertainment reporters were aware that Kim Soo Hyun and Kim Sae Ron were dating. However, they said they couldn't write about it. This also proves her family's claims that the relationship was a hidden secret in the industry that people just refuse to talk about. Additionally, Saeron's family strongly believes that Lee Jin Ho has been working with Soo Hyun for a long time, deliberately creating videos to tarnish her reputation. Garosero only supported these claims by saying that Jin Ho's videos were being made under Soo Hyun's and gold medalist's direction. Many find this theory plausible, especially considering the accusations about Soo Hyun dating Sae Ron and later abandoning her. If he had truly been in a relationship with her and had planned to ask her for nearly $500,000, the last thing he would want is for Sae Ron or her family to reveal the relationship as retaliation. This would explain why he might collaborate with Jin Ho to discredit her, ensuring that anything she said would be dismissed. When she expressed remorse for her scandal, Jin Ho cast doubt on it. When she said she was working part-time at a cafe, Jin Ho called her a liar. Now that she's gone and her family is holding Soo Hyun and Jin Ho responsible, the latter is once again shifting the focus elsewhere, blaming another alleged boyfriend. This would also explain why the media readily reported every claim Jin Ho made about Saeron as if it were fact. Of course, these are just rumors and claims from Saeron's family, but the way the media has handled this situation makes it seem like Soo Hyun is the one controlling the narrative. It appears that only his version is being shared, and many have noticed a rise in positive comments about him online. However, recent investigations by both news outlets and netizens suggest that some of these comments might be paid for. KNN News, an affiliate of SBS, pointed out that many of the supportive posts for Soo Hyun were suspiciously similar and copied across different platforms. Netizens found a series of identical articles about Soo Hyun focusing on his emotional state and past charity work, which seemed to be designed to gain sympathy. These articles were posted on various sites, including fan communities on DC Gallery, that weren't related to Soo Hyun or Saeron. In a particularly odd turn, one user accidentally responded to their own positive post about Soo Hyun while using a different profile, raising further suspicions. Netizens also pointed out that the comments of support on YouTube and other social media platforms sound like they were posted by bots rather than real people. Though Saeron's family hasn't presented proof of Jin Ho's supposed involvement with Soo Hyun, it's clear that no matter what steps Soo Hyun's supporters or team take, the public remains firmly behind Saeron. The sentiment against Soo Hyun is growing stronger, and it seems that for many, they're determined to see his career come to an end. The public's unwavering support for Saeron speaks volumes, and for Soo Hyun, it's likely too late to turn the tide. The situation grew more distressing after Sae Ron's family revealed that she had received predatory messages when she was only 15. The family of the late Kim Sae Ron has now unveiled explosive conversations and letters between her and Soo Hyun, shedding light on the relationship that began when Saeron was just a minor. With Saeron confirming their relationship lasted 5 to 6 years, and Soo Hyun's disturbing texts requesting physical relations when Saeron was only 15, here's everything that was revealed by her family. At a press conference on March 27th, the legal representative of Saeron's family, Boo Ji-sok, presented text messages exchanged between Saeron and Soo Hyun Hyun, which took place in June 2016. The messages revealed Saeron sending a heart emoji and a kissing sound to Soo Hyun, to which he responded by suggesting she do it in real life. In another exchange, she asked if he missed her, and he replied in a teasing manner, turning the question back on her. Their conversation continued, with Saeron commenting on how deeply he sleeps, leading Soo Hyun to agree that he wouldn't notice even if she kissed him. She responded playfully, suggesting she could do it multiple times without him realizing. Soo Hyun then asked if he could hold her while falling asleep, saying it would help him rest better, and Saeron agreed. Not to mention he asked if kissing was allowed and if he could kiss her in the future, implying that he had asked before and Saeron had rejected him. Since gold medalist and Soo Hyun had maintained that their relationship only began after Saeron became an adult, the family's legal representative challenged the statement, highlighting that she was just 15 at the time. He pressed further, questioning Soo Hyun directly about the true nature of their relationship, emphasizing that if it wasn't romantic, he should clarify exactly what it was. Other things that the family revealed were the text between Saeron and the person who first talked about the relationship, whom Soo Hyun's side accused of not being her real aunt. Whether the two were blood related or not, the text showed that the two were quite close, almost like family. There were also screenshots of texts between Saeron and a friend of hers, where she tells the friend about receiving the legal notice and how distressed she was by it. In the texts, Saeron opens up about her frustration, saying the company broke their contract. What was supposed to be a 70-30 revenue split, with the company covering 30% of costs, turned into her being forced to pay everything. Her friend stresses how serious the situation is and worries about the toll it might take on both of them, hinting at the potential damage it could cause. Saeron then reveals an even darker concern. If the company intentionally put her in this mess, she feels like there's nothing left for her. Her friend urges her to reach out for help and questions how the company can just ignore her. Saeron feels overwhelmed, saying their silence is pushing her to the edge. The conversation then shifts to the overwhelming financial burden, with her friend pointing out that getting even 70 million won would be a challenge, but 700 million won was almost impossible to imagine. As Saeron struggled with feelings of abandonment, her friend suggests calling her ex-boyfriend, Soo Hyun in this case, for help and asks if she's heard from him. Finally, Saeron breaks down, mourning the loss of her first love and feeling like her whole world is falling apart. Her friend understands, acknowledging that after 6 years together, it's normal for her to feel this way, but encourages her to move on. Boo Ji-sok also made public a letter that Saeron had written to Soo Hyun after she was informed about the lawsuit, in which she began by asking how he was doing before explaining that the reason she was writing was to clear up any misunderstandings about their relationship. In the letter, she shared that she had been unable to get in touch with anyone from the agency and admitted that she was deeply afraid after receiving the legal notice. Then she apologized for posting the picture of them together, explaining that she had done so in an attempt to get the company's attention, as she felt she had no other way to reach them. Saeron expressed regret once again for any harm she may have caused him by sharing the photo, revealing that she had been feeling uneasy and frightened around the agency's staff, which had only added to her distress. She continues, "We had been dating for 5-6 years. You were my first love and my last love, so I wish you wouldn't avoid me. Seeing you avoid me and not even acknowledging me makes me feel like all the time we spent together was meaningless." Saeron even asks if they could remain friends and support each other, questioning whether he truly dislikes her that much, and if so, why? She goes on to say that if this letter never reaches him, then it means their relationship has come to an end, which was a thought that saddened her. She assures him that she won't interfere in his life anymore, but admits she still hopes to see him happy and smiling one day. At the end of the letter, she includes her phone number, asking him to call if he receives it. Interestingly, she also expresses concern about who might read it first, saying she hopes Soo Hyun himself sees it rather than his cousin, the co-founder of Gold Medalist. In closing, Saeron tells him she wishes him happiness, success in both his career and personal life, and that she hopes he remembers their time together without any bitterness. As unsettling as everything was, it was nothing compared to the more explicit messages that came to light. In a screenshot shared by the legal representative, Soo Hyun is seen asking Saeron how long it would take before they could be physically intimate, wondering if it would take a year or even 3. She responds by saying that a year feels like a long time, to which Soo Hyun follows up by asking if 6 months would be more reasonable. Saeron, who was only 15 at the time, responds with, "I'll do it when I want to. No promises." Unfortunately, the situation doesn't stop there. It was previously reported that Soo Hyun might have been involved in actions similar to the Nth Room crimes when Saeron was a minor. However, details about these claims were not shared during the conference, and it's unclear what exactly happened, as there was an effort to protect Saeron and her family's reputation. The texts and the letter were all it took to validate that everything Saeron's family had said was true. They not only confirmed a 6-year relationship between the two, which happened when Saeron was 15 and Soo Hyun was 27, but also showed how Soo Hyun tried to pressure and manipulate Saeron into taking things further despite the fact that she was only a minor. Even those who trusted the family found the texts incredibly disturbing and hard to stomach. A commenter wrote, "He's so disgusting, so disgusting. That's a child. The way she talks, how innocent she is, that's a child, and he ruined her entire life. He took her life." Additionally, people pointed out that he tried to make himself seem more childish and immature, as if the 12-year age gap wasn't there and as if he wasn't the one holding all the power. And what's even worse is how the texts with his friend backed up everything Saeron's family had claimed. Soo Hyun's threats and manipulation pushed her to take her life. He demanded a huge sum of money from her, money that was just pocket change to him, while allegedly starting a campaign with the media and Lee Jin Ho to destroy her reputation. This made it impossible for her to find a job, especially considering her unfinished schooling. Even worse, she couldn't even get back to acting, leaving her stuck in debt with no way to repay it. The worst thing is that the money he asked for was what he made from just one episode of Queen of Tears, which tells us just how little he needed it. Then, after causing so much pain, he ignored her, acted like she didn't exist, and then had the nerve, along with the agency, to imply that she was delusional for posting a picture of them last year. His actions were incredibly messed up, and to the public, it's clear he deserves to face not only legal consequences for dating a minor, but also for his role in her tragic end. The public also praised how the family handled the situation, with experts presenting the evidence and sharing raw forensic data, leaving no room for doubt. However, it was also heartbreaking to see the family having to prove their care for Saeron. Given how the media, Lee Jin Ho, and the gold medalist made it seem like the family wasn't involved, it was unfair that they had to demonstrate their love and show how close Saeron's aunt was to her, despite not being blood related. The situation got even more serious as after the press conference, Garosero released another video. In it, the host accused Soo Hyun of sending a wildly inappropriate video to Saeron while she was still a minor. The video, possibly filmed during his trip to France, showed Soo Hyun and an acquaintance looking at mannequins wearing undergarments. He seemed to compare the mannequin's body to that of Korean women and made unsettling comments, saying, "They don't have these in Korea, right? I mean such bodies. Ones with such proportions, ones as hot as these. How can Korean women take after them?" Then, the camera pans away and he mentions a father and daughter passing by, with the daughter looking shocked. He adds, "We locked eyes. I'm not even embarrassed." While there has been no response from Soo Hyun or his agency as of March 27th, the public believes there's nothing that can be done to absolve him of the accusations. These scandals painted a shocking picture that Korea's once beloved actor had been hiding a 6-year secret. Actor Kim Soo Hyun has finally spoken up, but instead of proving his innocence, his press conference has left many questioning his credibility even more. With public opinion shifting further in favor of Saeron's family and even Garosero Institute, what's next for Soo Hyun's family? On March 31st, Soo Hyun finally held a press conference as promised, addressing every accusation against him. Dressed in black, he started by saying he was sorry for the pain so many had endured because of him and expressed heartbreak that the deceased couldn't find peace. He admitted to feeling like a coward, always prioritizing self-preservation, fearing loss, and doubting even the kindness he received. That fear, he claimed, made him run away and deny things, which is why it took him so long to come forward. Recently, he said, he had been questioning everything. What if he had just told the truth from the start? Would that have spared his fans and staff from suffering? When details of his relationship with Saeron surfaced, he had often thought about speaking up to end it all, but every time he said that, he hesitated, afraid that one wrong move would ruin everything for himself and those around him. Regarding the photo Saeron posted last March while Queen of Tears was still airing, he confirmed they had dated, but only for a year, and only after she became of legal age. He stuck to his original stance, denying any wrongdoing. Admitting he had initially lied when the rumors began, he acknowledged that criticism for that was fair, but asked people to at least listen to his side, even if they doubted him. Reflecting on his career, he said he never expected to receive so much love as an actor. Coming from a modest background, he suddenly had a lot to protect. When Queen of Tears was airing, he knew admitting to the relationship could impact not just himself, but also his co-stars, the staff, the production team, and his agency. Weighing his options, he repeatedly chose to be star Kim Soo Hyun rather than just himself. He admitted that fear drove his decisions, fear that protecting his career would backfire and ruin everything. But even knowing that, he wouldn't change a thing. He insisted that being in his position meant carrying certain responsibilities, even if it meant sacrificing personal comfort, and said that if people saw that as cowardice or selfishness, he would accept the criticism. In the end, he apologized to those who had supported him. He also confessed that speaking up made him uneasy, knowing his words could have serious consequences. However, staying silent wasn't an option. Soo Hyun shared that some people had suggested a different approach, handling the situation quietly, taking limited responsibility to manage the fallout, and then waiting for the public to move on before making a comeback. Now, he couldn't help but think, if he had followed that plan, would his relationship with Saeron have remained a secret? Would he have been spared the threats and the exposure of his private photos? Once again, he firmly denied ever dating Saeron when she was underage, or that her tragic decision was caused by him or pressure from gold medalist over her debut. Soo Hyun added, aside from the fact that we were both actors, we were both just ordinary lovers like everyone else. We met with good feelings for each other, and as time passed, we broke up. After that, we rarely contacted each other. He also claimed they were careful about staying in touch after their breakup since they were both actors. However, because they were under the same agency, he still had some idea of how she was doing. When asked why he hadn't reached out after her drunk driving incident, he explained that she was in a relationship with another man at the time. Not wanting to interfere in her life, he chose to keep his distance. Unsure of what to say, Soo Hyun then criticized Saeron's family, accusing them of pressuring him to admit to things he didn't do, like manipulating her when she was underage, using money to control her, and ultimately pushing her toward tragedy. He brought up an audio recording, urging people to listen. According to him, after their relationship was exposed, Garosero Institute, the YouTube channel representing Saeron's family's side, shared testimony from the CEO of Saeron's last agency. This CEO claimed his company pressured Saeron about her debts by sending a second certificate of contents. However, Soo Hyun countered this by playing a past conversation between the CEO and his own agency head, where the story was completely different. He questioned why the CEO was now making contradictory claims and insisted he would take responsibility for any mistakes he actually made, but he wouldn't admit to things he never did. He also pointed out that the audio clips the family presented were recorded after the situation had already blown up. Regarding the Kakao Talk messages, he said that the conversations were from 2019, not 2016, as the family had claimed. He argued that Saeron would not have mistaken their age gap, nor would she have been confused about the name of the agency she worked at for 4 years or the length of her contract. Soo Hyun also emphasized that during her time with his company, she was only an actress and was never involved in casting or visual directing like her family had claimed. Addressing the Kakao Talk messages used by Saeron's family to claim he dated her when she was underage, Soo Hyun insisted that the person in the 2016 conversation was not the same as the one in 2018. To back this up, he said he had sent the chats to a verification agency specializing in speech analysis, which concluded that the individuals in the conversations were different. He then expressed frustration over how things had unfolded. Every time he or his agency responded to the accusations, new testimonies would suddenly appear. He pointed out that photos and videos were being manipulated to alter timelines, and edited Kakao Talk screenshots, different from the originals, were being presented as evidence. While he accepted criticism for his past choices, he made it clear that lies wouldn't suddenly become truth just because they were repeated repeated. He stated that he would pursue legal verification of the evidence and called on the family to submit everything they had to investigators for official review. After the press conference, Soohyun's lawyer, Kim Jong-bok, announced that both the actor and his agency, gold medalist, were taking legal action as they had officially handed the case over to the law firm, which had already filed a complaint. The lawsuit targeted several individuals, including members of Saeron's family, the woman who said she was Saeron's aunt, and the operators of Garosero, with accusations of defamation under laws governing online information and communication. Since this was Soo Hyun's first time addressing the accusations, many expected him to come prepared with solid evidence to counter Saeron's family's claims. Instead, netizens felt he not only failed to do that, but also tarnished her memory in the process. Criticism poured in, with people accusing him of forcing tears to gain sympathy. His refusal to take questions during the conference led to more backlash, with some calling him a coward. Others mocked him for relying heavily on a script, claiming he couldn't even pretend to be sincere, constantly looking down to read rather than speaking from the heart. One commenter said he should at least change the way he fake cries. It looks the same as when he's crying on screen, so everybody knows it's a mechanism to produce tears on command that are artificial. Netizens also found it hard to trust Soo Hyun's words, especially since he openly admitted to lying about his past relationship with Saeron to protect those around him. If he was willing to do it before, what was stopping him from lying again? Making things worse, he even said that if he could go back, he would still choose to cover up the relationship despite knowing the backlash and suffering Saeron endured because of it. Another point of criticism was his choice of words. He never once called Saeron by name, only referring to her as the deceased, and instead of expressing remorse to her family, he hit them with a massive lawsuit. Netizens also accused him of bringing up her DUI scandal to paint Saeron in a bad light to shift attention away from the accusations against him, using distractions rather than addressing the real issue. Additionally, the so-called evidence Soo Hyun presented to challenge Saeron's family's claims didn't convince many netizens. For one, the family had already submitted the messages for forensic analysis, confirming their authenticity. That alone made his attempt to discredit them seem weak. Then, there was his claim that a scientific institution analyzed the messages and determined they weren't written by the same person based on speech patterns. Many found this hard to believe. Analyzing handwriting might make sense, but using text alone to confirm or deny authorship? That seemed far-fetched. Plus, people naturally change their writing style depending on who they're talking to, and it wouldn't be surprising if Soo Hyun's messages looked different after 2 years. A netizen poked fun at his excuse by commenting, "From now on, everyone should speak the same way they did 2 years ago." Garosero Institute escalated things by releasing more proof of Soo Hyun and Saeron's relationship. They shared photos of the two at a ski resort, a video from 2018 of Soo Hyun tasting meals Saeron had cooked, and even a picture of her sleeping, allegedly in his bed. To back up their claims, they provided evidence confirming that these images were taken in 2018. However, one particular photo caught netizens' attention. It was a Kakao Talk message from Soo Hyun to Saeron, and Garosero claimed it was from 2015 when she was only 15. Netizens quickly started investigating and found strong evidence supporting the claim. At the time, Saeron was a host on Music Core, and after the image was leaked, people found old clips showing her wearing the exact same outfit and hairstyle as in the photo Soo Hyun had sent. Allegations are now circulating that Saeron's family, frustrated with Soo Hyun, has been pushing Garosero to reveal everything. However, they were reportedly advised to release the information strategically. They also seem unbothered by legal threats. Allegedly prepared with 5 phones and 4 laptops full of evidence, and are even hoping that Soo Hyun takes legal action against them. So, Soo Hyun not only failed to gain the public's sympathy or convince them of his innocence, but he also ended up looking like a liar, someone who faked emotions to win sympathy, refused to even say the name of the person he allegedly hurt, and chose to sue the bereaved family for 12 billion won instead of offering an apology. Without an admission of guilt or any remorse from him, it seems the family is determined to keep exposing the truth and reveal what they believe Soo Hyun did. And in the end, the fallout was enormous, with Kim Soo Hyun losing more than anyone could have imagined after the scandal broke. For almost 8 weeks, Kim Soohyun has battled the biggest crisis of his career after Kim Sae Ron's relatives claimed he was romantically involved with her at 15 while he was 27. Sponsors have distanced themselves from him, and now he reportedly faces a heavy penalty that could leave him completely broke and without a job. Since the situation started to unfold, many people vowed to boycott brands and companies that continued to support Soohyun, and it seemed to have an impact. One notable example was Dinto, a Korean vegan beauty brand where Soohyun was a model. Instead of cutting ties with him, however, Dinto's CEO, An Ji-ye, chose to stand by him. In a late-night statement, she expressed gratitude for the concern and announced that she would continue to support Soohyun, choosing to trust him and wait for more information. She emphasized her focus on her own responsibilities rather than being swayed by unverified claims. Her decision sparked significant backlash, with the public criticizing the brand for not only sticking by Soohyun, but for actively supporting him despite the ongoing controversy. After people online threatened to never buy from the brand again, they released a follow-up statement saying, "All employees have been checking the facts and discussing how to go about the situation. Currently, all planned schedules related to the model have been put on hold." In the end, the brand canceled its advertising contract with Soohyun, which was originally due to end in August, citing the need to uphold customer trust. Then, Tous les Jours, a bakery chain under CJ Foodville, followed suit. Soohyun had been a model for the brand from 2012 to 2015 and was reappointed in September 2024. However, following the scandal, the bakery removed all traces of him from its Instagram and promotional materials and terminated his contract. A spokesperson for the brand revealed that they were already considering not renewing his contract even before the controversy surfaced. The outdoor fashion brand Eider also acted quickly. On March 13th, they removed all of Soohyun's images from their social media, followed by the deletion of his photos from the Eider section of K-Village's website. Soon after, they made it clear they were ending their contract with him. Several other companies, including supermarket chain Homeplus, athleisure brand K2 Korea, Shinhan Bank, Aekyoung Group, and Kuku, followed suit, removing Soohyun from advertisements and social media platforms. Not all brands chose to cut ties immediately, with some citing that the accusations had not been confirmed and thus no action had been taken yet. But other brands don't really need to speak out because the brands that did distance themselves from him seemed to be enough to put a hole in Soohyun's pockets. According to reports, his immense popularity in China and Southeast Asia once earned him top-tier advertising fees. After his breakthrough role in My Love from the Star in 2012, his annual earnings from endorsements hit around 50 billion South Korean won, with his modeling fee reaching 1 billion South Korean won each year. However, such high fees come with the risk of steep penalties. It was reported that most advertising contracts have clauses that state if the celebrity faces legal issues or causes public controversy, they are required to pay a penalty of 2 to 3 times their advertising fee. Given Soohyun's current modeling fee of 500 million South Korean won per year, his potential penalties could range between 16 billion and 24 billion South Korean won. Inarguably, though, Prada's response was the most significant blow to Soohyun's career. Having appointed him as an ambassador at the end of 2024, the brand faced intense backlash for staying silent about the scandal. It quickly became apparent that Prada was aware of the situation when they disabled comments on posts featuring Soohyun. The public's frustration grew, and a Twitter user even directly called on the brand to take action against him, writing, "Your ambassador is a file and complicit in a young woman ending her life, Prada. The way you're hiding comments makes me think you actually support him." Amid the growing public pressure, Prada released a statement on March 14th. They acknowledged the seriousness of the situation and announced that their partnership with Soohyun had ended, with his contract officially terminated. However, this was just the beginning of even more trouble for him. Most recently, the production of the Disney Plus K-drama Knockoff, which was set to star Soohyun and Jo Boa, has been postponed indefinitely. Announced in August last year, the drama was set to follow Kim Sung-joon, played by Soohyun, whose life is upended by the 1997 Asian financial crisis. From an ordinary office worker who loses his job to the vice president of Samul Market, a major counterfeit market, he rises to power in the global counterfeit world thanks to his sharp intellect, quick thinking, and ambition. Jo Boa was cast as his ex-girlfriend, Song Hye-jung, a special judicial police officer who hunts down counterfeit goods, setting up a tense dynamic between them. Directed by Park Hyun-suk, known known for Uncontrollably Fond and Song of the Bandits. The drama was initially set for a 2025 release, sparking excitement among fans. The impressive cast included Yoo Jae-myung, Lee Jong-un, Kwon Nara, and Park Soo-won, and the drama had a massive budget of 60 billion won. It was reported that a significant portion was allocated to Soo Hyun's appearance fee, as the production hoped to leverage his rising popularity, especially after Queen of Tears, to recoup costs through a global launch. The show was planned to have 18 episodes, split into 2 seasons, with the first 9 episodes slated for release in the first half of 2025. Production for the first half had already been completed, and the show was expected to air in April until Soo Hyun's scandal derailed everything. At first, it seemed like everything was proceeding as planned for Knockoff. Soo Hyun was seen filming for season 2, and the release schedule remained unchanged. A source even told OSIN that filming was going ahead as planned, with no disruptions due to the issue. However, fans were far from happy. Many felt Disney was trying to minimize losses on such an expensive project, and with the production so far along, replacing Soo Hyun would have been nearly impossible. Still, people were frustrated that the company didn't see the situation as serious enough to take action. Comments from netizens said, "I'm not gonna watch anyway," and "They still haven't shot it yet, right? Just scrap the thing." In response, a boycott was organized by K-drama fans, aiming to send a clear message to Disney that they disapproved of Soo Hyun being involved in such a high-budget project. As many had anticipated, Disney's decision to move forward without addressing the controversy backfired. While Disney seemed indifferent to the accusations against Soo Hyun, the drama's sponsors were starting to worry about the potential fallout. The South Korean street brand Safety Zone Korea in particular was impacted by the scandal both directly and indirectly. Park Kipyo, the CEO, explained that the brand had initially partnered with the drama because of its alignment with youthful energy and innovation. However, in light of the controversy, they stated they would wait for Disney to make an official announcement regarding the drama before issuing their own statement. This only left the public more confused. If the sponsors were backing away, why hadn't Disney canceled the project yet? Many fans urged the company to just make Soo Hyun pay the penalty fee and move on, as they believed that would be the simplest solution. A user commented, "Make him pay the penalty fee at least 2 times or 3 times the production costs." A lot of fans also felt for the rest of the cast and crew who had invested so much effort into the drama, only to see it derailed by Soo Hyun's scandal. Things escalated to the point where Garosero Institute, which had been representing Saeron's family, threatened to release a damaging video of Soo Hyun if Disney didn't cancel Knockoff's release. On March 21st, the production team finally announced that the release of Knockoff would be delayed indefinitely. It seems the project may even be scrapped or at least recast, despite season 1 already being filmed. Soo Hyun was going to bear the brunt of this decision. Not only is Knockoff yet another project to distance itself from him following the scandal, but reports also suggest he could face hefty penalty fees. According to sources on April 23rd, the cast and crew were informed that filming had been put on hold indefinitely and the release was delayed. It's said that the production team was considering penalties for the disruption, which could amount to a staggering 180 billion won, which is 3 times the project's production budget. While this hasn't been officially confirmed, many saw it coming. With every brand dropping Soo Hyun and the mounting pressure from boycotts and nervous sponsors, it became clear that Disney couldn't proceed with the drama as originally planned, both in terms of casting and scenes. News that Soo Hyun might face a penalty fee of that size sparked mixed reactions online. Some people felt satisfied seeing him lose his role in the drama, enjoying the idea of him facing consequences. Others were more focused on the penalty itself, especially since Soo Hyun was reportedly involved in making Saeron pay back 700 million won, and they felt it was fitting for him to pay a heavy price now, with a commenter saying, "I have little faith in the justice system, so I hope they can at least bleed him dry with all those penalty fees. That will probably hurt him more than any legal consequences too." On the other hand, some people argued that Disney probably wouldn't sue Soo Hyun. One commenter pointed out that unless he gets convicted, something they believed was unlikely, Disney is unlikely to take legal action. They speculated that instead Disney and Soo Hyun would likely settle on a compensation fee that he could afford, rather than a penalty that would leave him financially ruined. Although nothing has been confirmed, including the exact penalty fee, many people are hoping that Saeron and her family will see justice in some form. To the public, the idea of Soo Hyun facing significant penalty fees, going from one of the highest paid actors in the industry to being financially ruined, feels like the perfect form of karmic justice for what he allegedly did to Saeron. As the dust settles, one thing is clear. The story surrounding Kim Soo Hyun and Kim Sae Ron is far from simple, and the world is still processing the shocking truths that came to light. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more stories like this.